not stop. And we're running out the clock. I fail once, never stop. I am unbeatable. I am unbeatable. I am unbeatable, yeah. I am unbeatable. I am unbeatable, yeah. I am unbeatable. I am unbeatable, yeah. I am unbeatable. I am unbeatable, yeah.
Welcome to the British Basketball League YouTube channel. This is round 2 of the trophy competition, with teams competing for the first piece of silverware of the season. If you're watching in the UK, or you have choice of 2 games tonight, Bristol against Newcastle tipped off moments ago. If you're watching in the USA, or you're a fan of Manchester or London, you can settle down for some quality hoops right here. When these 2 first met in September, the Lions of London inflicted the heaviest defeat of the season, running out 76-115 winners. So, hoping for a more even contest tonight is Dan Routledge and head coach of the Surrey Scorchers, Lloyd Gardner.
We certainly are, Jeanette. Yes, indeed. Welcome to the National Basketball Performance Centre, where it is do or die for the Manchester Giants. They've played both their trophy games on the road so far. They're 0-2 as a result and are in must-win territory now. Nothing short of 2 wins from their 2 home games will do from their perspective. London, however, are on the brink of confirming their semi-final spot. It could be tonight if they win and Bristol lose, but whatever happens down in the southwest, they will know that victory here will be a massive step towards the Final Four in Birmingham. It is the Manchester Giants against the London Lions. Tip off in about 14 minutes time, and it's basically a knockout game here for the Manchester Giants. If they are to progress in this competition, they have to win now.
Yeah, and a tough ask. They get to come back home here to the Performance Centre in Manchester, but you know, you're facing off against the league leaders, the only team that's qualified for the playoffs, and a team with a new player who's as good as anyone we've seen in this league so far this season. Good
luck, Manchester Giants, with that one. Let's have a look at the standings so we can see how things are in Group B. You can see London 2 wins from 2. Victory tonight might be enough. It needs to be coupled with a victory from Bristol, who are playing the Newcastle Eagles. If the Eagles win that, everything goes to next week. But for Manchester, next week doesn't matter if they don't win today. They've got to keep their chances alive here today. And from London's perspective, I mean, it would be mad that they could be 3-0 and not yet qualified, but they'll just be thinking 3-0 now, 4-0 next week. We'll get our qualification that way.
Yeah, I mean, this is a London team that's tuned to play multiple competitions, you know, play a lot of games in a short period of time. So I don't think anything changes from them. It's another game. It's another opportunity to get better, to integrate David Nwaba into the lineup. But yeah, first and foremost for them, they'll think about winning this game and then move on to the next one when it comes.
Well, it's relatively straightforward in Group B. In Surrey's group with Lloyd Gardner, not so much. Everybody in this group can still finish first, everybody can still finish 5th, and everything in between. Have you got the abacus ready for working out the permutations in the next week or so?
Not yet. I'll refer to Twitter of Dan Routledge to get my information, but you know, similar to the other group, is take it one at a time. Try to win your next game, try to win as best you can, see if you can get points difference if that matters towards the end, and then wait and see what everybody else does.
Well, that's the thing, is people like us like to sit there and go, this could happen, that could happen, but for Lloyd, just win the game. Win the game, it's easy. Well, the teams that have won the games this week, the Leicester Riders beating Manchester on Wednesday. Caledonia were do or die on Thursday. They did, and won that game at Sheffield, which has made that group even more complex. 2 games tonight we've already mentioned, and then tomorrow, big one for Lloyd and his Surrey Scorchers. They head down to Plymouth. Plymouth could actually qualify with 2 wins this weekend. Manchester go again on Sunday against Bristol, and the Patriots are up in Cheshire for that one. So hopefully by Sunday it might be a little clearer in terms of what's going on. We're going to have a look at players from both teams right after this break. Welcome back to our coverage of the British Basketball League Trophy. Whether you're joining us in the United Kingdom or across the United States of America, we're delighted to have you with us. And Lloyd, we're going to have a look at a few players to keep an eye on in this game. One guy you always have to pay attention to when Manchester Giants are in town, William Lee, such a smooth scorer of a basketball.
Well, he's been really good in the trophy as well. You know, I spent a lot of time injured early in the season, but we've seen the best of William Lee last couple of weeks. 23 and 15 against Newcastle, 16 and 8 against Leicester Riders as well. And especially with Manchester being short-handed today, you know, a lot of pressure on him to go against a really experienced, strong, deep front line of the London Lions.
Yeah, I fancy there'll be a lot of minutes out there for him. One guy who gives them a bit of a scoring punch off the bench, Evan Walsh. And if they are to beat the Lions, they need the cheap points that he's so good at providing.
Yeah, I mean, Evan Walsh today really is going to be the bench for the Manchester Giants. Really been superb recently. 6 of the last 7 he scored in double figures. He had a couple of big games against London earlier in the year. Been a real X factor, you know, coming off the bench for this Manchester team. Really enjoyed this bigger role, and I've enjoyed watching him play. You know, he's been one of the best British players in the league for Manchester.
He certainly has. And speaking of best British players who come off the bench at the other end of the floor, what a luxury for the London Lions. Luke Nelson usually comes off the bench. They had some injury problems. He stepped into the starters, played really well.
Yeah, I mean, Luke Nelson, he's the GB starting point guard, you know, an experienced man for a reason, and we've seen that in recent weeks. When he's been called upon because of injuries, you know, he's kept this London Lions team just ticking along. Such a tough matchup. You know, you could look at the 20 points he had against Newcastle, the 12 that he had against Leicester of his quality. Perhaps a few less minutes today with everyone else back, but, you know, what a competitor he is.
And one guy who always seems to perform every week, and maybe sneaks under the radar a little bit, given all the talent that they have, Conor Morgan.
Well, I mean, we talked about the injury worries for Manchester here tonight, and this is the matchup that worries me if I'm Manchester. You know, how and who are they going to match up against Conor Morgan? Put a smaller guy on him, and he's going to take you to the inside, try and zone him, try and play him man-to-man. He's going to find that space on the three-point line. And similar to Luke Nelson, you know, he's a guy that's stepped up while the others have been out as well.
Well, he certainly is a matchup nightmare, as you say, and the two coaches will be having their thoughts as to how their team can get themselves through to victory. Let's have a look at the starting fives for the two teams. And Manchester still without Jamel Anderson, Callum Jones, Austin Lawton. So only 8 players available tonight. They go with the same starting 5 that started at Leicester in the midweek. At the other end of the floor, London give a domestic debut start to David Nwaba, who has over 200 NBA games under his belt, and he had an impressive showing in the Euro Cup this week. A lot of firepower in the starters and off the bench for the London Lions tonight. Well, earlier I caught up with both coaches to see what they thought ahead of tonight's game. Obviously, you've got to win both games. Tall task against a very talented London team here today.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's a tall task, but I'm really proud of how our fellas compete every night, but definitely the last time we played London, we were right there with them, and I know the fellas have that fresh in their mind. And, you know, do or die tonight. So we have nothing to lose. We're going to bring our energy. We know we can compete, and we're going to do our best to come out on top.
Well, Petter, 2 wins from 2 in the trophy. A third one tonight might well be enough to book your passage tonight. It's just about keeping on winning for you guys.
Well, like you say, and on the other end, like our approach is to every game the same. So we are here to play good game and improve a little bit in every game. And we'll see where that put us, if tonight's win or no win put us in position to end up for a semi-final. That's great for us.
And that last game, obviously the ending aside, a brilliant performance from your team. Probably should have won the game in regulation. What did you take from that performance?
Man, you said it. That's the game that's stuck with me every day since that game. I literally wake up in the middle of the night sometimes in a cold sweat about that game, because we lost that game. We had it, and I know the fellas feel the same. So we're going to take that energy into tonight and really compete the way that we know we can.
And at the other end of the floor, a Manchester team have given you a few problems this year when you faced them.
Yep, yeah, the good team. Honestly, the last game was some movie scenario ending the game when we won on overtime. Of course, like for them and for us and all other teams, injuries are cause a lot of changes. We'll see how everything going to look tonight, but we are very cautious, came here and ready to play a game.
Well, David Nwaba will make his domestic debut here tonight for the London Lions as they look to book themselves a spot in the semi-finals. Manchester's backed against the wall. Who will come through? Find out right after this break. Welcome back to Manchester. Kate Unsworth, Ian McDonald, Chris Dodds, a pretty experienced lineup in the refereeing crew as well as the Fives make their way out onto court for this game. The Manchester Giants, the maths is pretty simple for them. They have to win to have any chance of making it through. London, well, a win will probably book them a semi-final berth, if not this week, then next. But it won't be mathematically secured until the result of the other game is known, which we will keep an eye on for you and we'll keep you updated as we go along. But it's the Lions who get us underway here in Manchester. Philip, almost stolen away by Bortier, but Philip keeps it. Pick and roll, extra pass, Nwaba in the corner. That's a perfectly run offense from the London Lions.
Yeah, we talked about the mismatches, and that's where Gabe is so good. Olashani can short roll, excellent passer. There's such a threat to score as well.
Almost stolen away. Lewis, who had a great game against the Lions earlier this season. And a good start for Manchester with a 3 on the first play from Stampley.
This defensive end is the key for Manchester, though. They've given up over 90 points in their 2 losses. They can't trade baskets with London. I think they're going to score enough points. They've got to limit the looks down here.
Well, London getting 2 threes to start off with, but missing both of them. Here's Lee. Talk to Robertin. Looking inside, but this late in the shot clock now. Robertin needing to go to work. It's across the board. So he has the, well, he just loses the ball. Poked away from Philip. He'll be able to pick that up. Morgan along the baseline. Well, what was he doing? Go up.
Yeah, not sure what that decision was. It's almost
Locked
too
up
open.
to lead, but it's too high.
Well, it's been an interesting start for, you know, we talked about the defence for Manchester. London, 2 open looks for 3. Matt Morgan, an open drive. Dicing with depth already if you're Manchester, really, on that end.
Interesting, doing some heavy lifting in that phrase there, Lloyd. Here's Philip. Kicked out to the opposite corner. And Waba's going to try and fire over the basket, and he's getting some early touches. It's always interesting when you bring a guy in mid-season as to how he adjusts. And when London already have a lot of talent out on court, so they don't need to throw him in there, but they want to get him up to speed as quickly as possible by the looks of it.
I like the move, though. You put him in the starting lineup. It's an opportunity, isn't it, for London? They've got, you know, a good step towards qualification already. So they're able to get some free minutes, try to integrate David Nwaba with the team. And that's Coach Bozic. You know, he's got that freedom to be able to do it. Knows he's got guys like Nelson that have been rolling and playing heavy minutes over the past couple of weeks, so he can ease off on their load as well.
Well, this is actually the time of the season where it kind of slows down a little bit for London. They played so many regular season games before the break, and obviously they're close to the end of the Euro Cup regular season as well. They've qualified for the playoffs on that one in midweek, and William Lee takes the foul and will go to the free throw line.
Yeah, something I actually spoke to Coach Bozic about when we played him a couple of weeks ago, and he said we're just trying to survive till February, I think was his term. I believe they've only got 4 games in February, which is just incredible for the amount of games that they have had, and they've managed to get through the stretch, but they've lost guys from injury. Couple of fouls here, Dan. You know, we talked before we came on air about fouls being important, more for Manchester than London perhaps, but you know, Stampley picked up a cheap one early in this front line. Stampley, Lee and Lige Robert, and you know, the 2 of those 3 are always going to have to be on the floor for Manchester in this game here tonight, so they cannot afford any of those 3 guys to pick up foul problems.
Lee off the back iron with the second free throw. Well, that was the right idea, but not well executed.
Not an efficient start for London on the offensive end so far.
Here's Lee. Oh, from the elbow, knocking it down.
And that's the shot William Lee wants. Loves that mid-range off the dribble. Conor Morgan got to do a better job on the defensive end there. Take that away.
Well, we talked about matchup nightmares. Well, they've toughed it away again, London. It's been sloppy from the Lions in the first 3 minutes. Here's Lewis going to the basket. No way there. Morgan in the open court. Nice little shovel pass and dropped in for Nwaba.
This is where we mentioned for Manchester, they can't allow those easy ones in transition. They've got Nick Lewis at the point of the basket. He missed. Somebody's got to be rotating back. Can't give up an easy transition basket.
Here's Robertson with the long hook again against Olasheni. Those hook shots just get a foot or 2 further out than maybe against other players. Philip, foul is on the floor.
I don't want to take anything away from Manchester. It's not been a good offensive start for Lions, couple of turnovers. But, you know, the problem is when you let them run, if you let them get a couple of easy ones, the pressure's off, we know that form is going to come back. So for Manchester, you've been able to hold them to a low score here in the early stages. You've got to take some confidence from that.
Well, 4 points in nearly 4 minutes is not the usual pace at which the London Lions scored, and there's been a few sloppy turnovers. They've missed a couple of open threes. As you say, that's not going to last. That won't be a 40-minute outcome for the Lions. So in some ways you have to make hay whilst the Lions are not shining.
And at the same time, you want to try to keep it like that as long as you can. Frustrate this Lions team. Don't give them fouls and free throws. Don't let them get out in transition. They're 2 big keys here for Manchester. Can they finish this possession?
Well, that is away on the buzzer, and a foul is called. So that will be a bonus free throw coming for Philip.
I talked about fouls of the front line. That's the second against Boursier already. So he's picked up 2. Lewis has picked up 1. Manchester already in the bonus as well. So London could spend a lot of time at a free throw line. And when you're struggling to score points, it's an easy way to keep that scoreboard ticking over.
And when you've missed a few shots, seeing the ball go through the net is always a helpful thing, even if it's from 15 feet.
Sorry, first against Boursier. Stampley, Boursier, Lewis all picked one each, I think.
Robertson. Back out to Stampley. Deep 3 from William Lee off the mark. Rebound Morgan. You were right first time. That was the second foul on Boursier.
My mistake.
But gets his feet into the key, elevates up, but can't finish. Boursier drops it back to Lee, and he drops it in.
This is a talented offensive Manchester team. So Boursier, that's why he's important. You know, he creates, facilitates well, gets William Lee a good shot.
Well, they dodged a bullet earlier, but you can't give Morgan that sort of look at the top. It's basically a layup for him.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about what a matchup nightmare he is. We saw him go into the post, but turn it over. But the one thing you cannot give him, as you say, catch and shoot threes in rhythm.
Stampley over to Lee. Boursier shot is deflected by Morgan, but stolen back by Lee. Lee's going to fire up another 3, and he's going to knock it down. William Lee, 8 early points.
Well, with this team, William Lee knows he is there to score for Manchester.
He's got the greenest of Manchester green lights, but it's going to be another 3-point play there as Matt Morgan converts off the glass. He draws the foul and will go to the free throw line. But first of all, we have a timeout called. It's a 1-point game here in Manchester. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Manchester. Oh, but with 4 points already, he certainly seems to have settled into life in London very quickly. Excellent performance against Hapoel Tel Aviv in Belgrade in the midweek as the London Lions booked their spot in the playoffs in the Euro Cup. First British team to go back-to-back in the playoffs. They are the first British team to play 2 consecutive seasons in that competition. So.
Just think, if him and Matt Morgan continue to play well, they might get the same jersey as everyone else. Writing slightly different on the front. It's obviously like the star players get a slightly different jersey to everybody else.
They're looking inside, but there's no room there. So Lee's going to fire up another three. Stampley with the rebound. Lewis has room. Good head fake, gets his man in the air. Stampley 2 feet in the paint. Can't convert. Robertson just waits for it, but he's crowded out by Grantham and Sharma. Wobber running the floor, misses the layup. Sharma knocks that one loose. Good defense. Pass was maybe a little low for Robertson.
Yeah, I was thinking, I wonder if there's going to be a change in defense for Manchester. They have used zone this year, and you can see they've gone to a 2-3.
Well, the early foul trouble. 5 fouls between the team already when you've only got 8 players. They've got to slow that for sure. Here's Lee driving to the basket, blocked by Sharma. London running the floor again, and this time Walsh commits the foul.
Defensive presence of Josh Sharma 2 times in a row, you know, challenged the shot, blocked the shot, and it starts the fast break for London. Coach Samorian said about, you know, in the pre-game, he talked about competitiveness, he talked about energy, and I think that's what Manchester need right now. Obviously, they are short-handed, only 8 players in roster, but they've got to play with more energy. Is that zone defense going to do something for them? They've got to try to find a way to score points and get back into the half-court game. If they allow London to keep playing in the open floor like this, it's going to be a long night. And as we said, they've given up 90 points their other 2 trophy games. They can't give up 90 points to London and expect to win.
Second free throw is good, which means Sandy, who's had a job of filling in at starters in recent weeks, will check into the game for the first time.
And as much as the injuries have hurt London, they could have helped him as well.
Yeah.
So guys like Luke Nelson, great rhythm, playing those extended minutes. They've got great court time out of Kieran Sandy as well.
Ooh, nearly another block from Sharma. Yes, Sandy, particularly the Leicester game, played really well, crashing the offensive glass, getting them some second chance points. Manchester still sitting in this zone. Got to be careful of the shooters. Luke Nelson is one of those, tipped out by Sharma. Queeley into the top of the key, and those are the gaps that you want to exploit as a coach.
Yeah, it's a good lineup from London to zone if you're Manchester, but they've got to know personnel. It was an open 3 for Nelson. It's Nelson and Grantham are going to be the 2 that will hurt you from the outside. Queeley will be the one that can penetrate the gaps, like you said.
And he can take the ball off you as well, as he did there. Passes it on to Nelson underneath for the reverse lane.
That's definitely something Kareem Queeley can do. He's an absolute tenacious defender. On the ball and off the ball, really smart as well.
Stampley goes back to Walsh. Robertson backing in from a long... Well, he's banked it in, and that will count. Basket is good. Referees are just having a conversation, actually, about that as to whether this one will count. The basket is good, and Robertson will go to the line for a bonus. I first thought, actually, he's too far out there, but he actually put it in off the glass. He could have been further out.
Yeah, I was wondering who the foul was against, to be honest with you. I thought it was against Grantham at first look.
Oh, he did come in and offer a little bit of help. Sharma was there as well.
It was Grantham. Yeah.
Reminder that if London win and Bristol don't win, then London will qualify tonight. But Bristol are winning at the moment down in Newcastle. A tight one, though. It's 34 points to 33. Newcastle obviously short-handed, and Bristol missing a few guys as well. Could be about who lasts the longest down there as Grantham knocks down a 3.
I'd say Grantham become a little bit of the forgotten man for London. Extended period out for him. He's a guy, you know, especially in the Euro Cup, had a couple of really big weeks for the London Lions. Hasn't really been needed for them in the British Basketball League.
Well, he did hit 3 threes at the start of the second half in the game against Leicester in the trophy last week. That was London put the afterburners on, scored the first 13 points of the second half. Blew the Riders away. Here's Grantham down the lane this time, and he's got 5 quick ones. Walsh will get that shot away. He will go to the line for 2 free throws.
That's what Evan Walsh does. London thought they had guys back. Evan Walsh beats the first man, just attacks the paint, draws the foul. Good work from him. Generated something from nothing, really. Gets to the free throw line. Now they have a chance to set their defense as well. See if they can get London into that half-court game we've been talking about.
Front end on the first one from Walsh. Manchester trailing by 5 in a game they must win to have any hope of making it to the Final Four in Birmingham. Here's Nelson. Nelson lobs it up towards Sharma. It's broken up. Here comes Lewis. Cross court to Harris, who fires up the 3 that rims out.
Good play from Manchester, though, and another one. Get the freebie here.
Great pass and easy drop in for 2 for Lee after Lewis fed him the ball.
That's the energy I was talking about, though. They get this stop on defense, run and get a good-looking transition. Doesn't go, but stay with it to get the steal.
A huge mismatch here for Grantham. Backing down, and the foul is called against Harris on the floor, but they're over the limit anyway, so it's going to be 2 free throws. But again, you look at the lineup that they've got out there, Manchester. I don't know. Here's another look back at the steal and dunk from Lee, but I don't know how they match up, because London have Grantham and Sharma out there. They've also got size in the wings. I don't know. They're going to get mismatches like that.
Yeah. Sandy, Grantham and Sharma are almost all bigger than London's tallest guy, and William Lee. You know, maybe Lee's got a little bit of size on Sandy, but that shows that the length, the size of the London front line.
Well, shot clock is off here. Manchester could potentially tie it to end the quarter. Lewis, he's going to drive to the basket. He's going to get rejected by Sharma, and that will do it for the opening quarter here in Manchester. The Lions leading it by 3. We'll be right back after this break. welcome back to Manchester, where William Lee has double figures in the first quarter here for the Giants, almost half his team's offense, and he's going to need a huge game if he's going to keep his team in touch here. They trail by only 3. Harris inside to Robertson, again thrown it in off the glass.
Positives for Manchester. They've proved they can score against this London team. They haven't had any problems at that end of the floor. Not sure they can leave Coyley.
Oh my goodness, he went for the emphatic dunk, but it came off the back. Blocked by Robertson. A couple of highlight plays clipped up there.
There's been a block party today. Sharma first of all, now Robertson as well getting in.
Head fake from Walsh, trying to get around Sharma, but unable to do so. Morgan running the floor and running it well.
A lot of points in transition for London. Done a great job getting out in the open floor.
Walsh for 3, and he can knock down the triple. We think of him as a slasher, but he does shoot the ball.
Yeah, it's one of the weaker points of his game, but that's because the rest of his game is strong. You know, as you said, can slash, very good in transition.
Manchester with an opportunity here to regain the lead.
Yeah. And it's off the back of a couple of stops defensively as well. That's the important end to watch for them.
Lee under pressure, wanted a foul, didn't get one. Lee chasing back, is able to steal it away, but Sandy deflects it off him and out. But there's John Tresvant, former Manchester Giant, amongst others. The All-Star game is coming back. John Tresvant was an MVP, I think twice of the All-Star game in the early 1990s. He was a highlight player, John Tresvant, back in his day. Great scorer.
And you know
Boy,
what?
he was an athlete, could get off the floor.
And you know what I loved? We went to him and he was moaning at the referees.
Yeah, some things never change.
I don't want to take away from what a great player he was, but he, you know, maybe mentioned a few things to the referees throughout his career as well.
Yeah, Trez, he liked to chat to the refs. It certainly deflected away. But it is great to see the old boys still around. And Mike Bernard, speaking of centres, immovable objects in the middle there. Mike Bernard played for the Manchester Giants in the mid-90s. There's a lot of coaching nowadays, bringing the next generation on.
Well, that was the Myers College Coaching Foundation right there. Neil Hopkins, Troy Cully, Mike Bernard, all in attendance tonight.
And there's Luke Nelson knocking down the 3 for London. Is Lewis, can't convert. London have a bit of momentum here. Ooh. Nelson was thinking about the move before he got the ball.
Another sloppy mistake from London. In reality, they've been slightly lucky that Manchester haven't been at their best here today. A lot of turnovers for them, missed opportunities in transition. They could have really run up the score, and it's dangerous, although, you know, a weak pass from Nick Lewis nearly gets turned over. You know, we've seen this is a Manchester team that can compete with London, and they'll want some revenge if they're going to get a close one going into the 4th quarter. It could be anyone's game.
Well, Brian was talking about it. The players are still, somebody's gone down as Phillips seems to have hurt himself. There was a foul call. Didn't quite see what happened to him. Did you notice
No.
it in real time? Whether he just got elbow to the ribs or something, he's just winded, perhaps. So it's at the top of the screen here. It's a screen set by Walsh, and he must have just caught it on a rib or got winded or something. I think there's a little conversation with the referee as to whether it might have been a legal one or not.
I think that's one of those. Evan went over, checked that Tariq was okay. Occasionally you get those hits, don't you, in a game? I don't think there was anything more than that.
Lewis from the free throw line cuts it to a 3-point game. Kind of needed some points there, Manchester. Oh, and stolen away, and they'll get a couple more. Here's Lewis with the run out. Those are the ones. If you're going to keep with London, you've got to keep the scoreboard ticking. The cheap ones are the best ones for that. Morgan, no, he's just automatic from 3, isn't he?
It's just automatic anywhere over the floor, but...
Oh, another huge block, and Morgan is off and running all the way to the basket, and from one end to the other in the blink of an eye for the London Lions. Manchester with a timeout here, but a great defensive play, absolutely spiked it like a volleyball player there, Nwaba, and that is Morgan in full flight.
So quick, Matt Morgan. And you think, you know, so often you've got to keep up with his athleticism, his speed to the basket, but he's just such a good shooter as well. And as we talked about with a few of these London players, how do you guard them? Try to play off them, they beat you from the outside, get too close, they're able to score on the interior against you.
Well, he has the ability to change the pace from really quick to lightning fast, doesn't he? 6 blocks for the London Lions, and you know, when you've got the athleticism of Sharma at the back and they've got other athletes as well, you take it to the rim at your peril.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. You know, it's such a big front line from London, the ability for them to bring in Olasheni, to bring in Sharma, and also, you know, Morgan, Grantham as well. All of them big guys, all of them can protect the ring. The thing I like about Manchester, though, is the scoring. 7 turnovers from London, but 6 steals for Manchester. So sloppy as, you know, we've been referring to London being with the ball, that they haven't been at their best. Some of that's been caused by the defensive energy of Manchester. Something they've got to try and do, see if they can get some cheapies, like you talked about, to get the scoreboard moving against this London team.
So I think referee McDonald there's just had a word with Coach Božić. I think Jordan Taylor has been up and having a little conversation, which as an inactive player you're not really allowed to do. So I think the referee has just given them a little warning on the London bench about that. We've seen Taylor actually doing some coaching when he's been out injured, so it's probably no surprise he's helping the referees as well.
I was just about to say that. It's just another job for his bow, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's coached, he's a player, he's a commentator. What more is there for him to do? I heard he's doing second half on the table as well. He's under 24. So I commented to Jordan Taylor, he's like Surrey's individual commentator. Feels like every time I turn on the footage, it's Jordan Taylor doing that game. So, you know, but he's fine. He's been took nice about us, so he's okay in my book.
There we go.
Yeah.
As long as he says nice things, you're okay. Coach Božić just gently having a conversation with him there. Well, it's the smirks from the players either side that is the fascinating one in situations like that. As Nwaba goes 1 for 2 from the line.
Look at that defense from Tariq. Philip just all over Lewis, can't even get him into the offense.
Well, another block, Nwaba. And Morgan again pushing. Here's Matt Morgan in the corner for 3. Lee with the rebound.
Feels like they've missed a lot of open threes, London, but 4 of 9 they are.
Oh, there's one for Manchester with Stampley hitting his second triple of the game. They're hanging on in there, Manchester. Both teams shooting pretty similar from the free throw line. Nice pass, and there's Morgan running the baseline.
That's the experience of this London Lions team. In the timeout, you could hear Gabe telling his players, cut from the baseline. He told all of his guys, and that's exactly what he was referring to. So when he gets it, he wants those cutters to be there because he feels they could get easy layups.
Here's Morgan. Ooh, the pass is slightly off the mark. Harris, Euro-stepping his way to the rim to lay it in.
Lovely finish from Harris. That Turing Phillip lining him up for the block, but just the footwork too good.
Shani has the mismatch, but he gives it out to Morgan, who puts it on the floor. It's going to be an offensive foul. Conor Morgan with the charge on the pass. And the London Lions still lead here in Manchester, but their advantage is only 4 points at the moment. We've got a timeout on the floor, so we'll take one as well. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Manchester. I think Conor Morgan was coming in and then he's gone back out again. Not quite sure what that was all about. The other game down in Bristol, there's a couple of seconds left in the first half. It's still a 1-point margin. London needing a Newcastle win in that one to book their place today, assuming they win this game, of course. Here's Lee. If Manchester were to win, that brings everybody back into the equation. Stolen away by Phillip. Morgan off and running. Wabo to the basket, lays it in.
Manchester have got to go to William Lee. They've got to get him going. He had 10 in the first quarter, scoreless in the second period, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, and he is the go-to guy in this lineup for Manchester. And he touches for him.
I think he's probably the go-to guy in any lineup that Manchester have, but yeah, they do need to get him the ball, and they need to play a bit more defense than that. And Waba is just getting to the rim relentlessly.
You mentioned his integration to the team. Well, it's a smooth one. If you can just run the lane and get some dunks, start to feel good about you know, the team, start to get used to playing with guys pretty quickly there.
Well, Lewis trying to throw a pass that wasn't really there. London in the open court. Shani on the spin. Who did that touch last? Well, it must have been Noir because it's a Manchester ball.
I was just having a look at the break there. The difference between the two teams, and the thing that stood out, Manchester at that stage had taken 31 shots, just 24 for London. So they're taking a lot more shots, even though London had shot it well. You know, turnovers were a big problem, but since that time out, Manchester haven't even got a shot up yet. There's one eventually.
It's off the mark. Well, it's one of those things where it's felt like London have missed quite a few, but they've got, well, they missed one right on cue. I was about to say, they've got to the basket so many that their percentages are actually quite good.
Yeah, they just haven't taken enough shots because of the 10 turnovers that we've already talked about.
Lewis, deep three, back iron. And good work from Phillip to win that battle. And here they are again. Oh, Lewis with a good defensive play on a 2-on-1. Lee sets himself. Phillip. Well, not the best shot selections you've seen in the last couple of plays there, Lloyd, as a coach.
No, I was just thinking that. I mean, the players backed themselves, didn't they? A lot of confidence in it. You like to see that, but both came up empty.
Lee's going to fire another three, and that one does go in. That is his first score of the second quarter.
William Lee playing the percentages. He said, I missed the last one.
Yeah.
That means this one's definitely going in.
90 seconds to play here in the first half in Manchester. Olasheni top of the key, just throws it in casual as you like.
That's their play for Gabe, to get the ball right in that area, though. So efficient. That kind of half jump shot, half push shot that he's so good at. Doesn't miss many of those if he catches it open.
Yeah, top of the key is his real forte. Morgan, Phillip. Here he is now on the low block, Gabe. Under pressure, he goes through the contact, and that'll be a chance for 3 points because he got fouled in the action. And, well, he hadn't really scored, but suddenly a couple of touches, and he shows you what he can do.
Frustrating for Roberton as well, you know, straight up. Did a pretty good job defensively, just too much contact though. It was a real cheap foul to give away, so he's going to be frustrated. That's his second, right at the back end of this second quarter, and he's a guy who's struggled with foul problems really throughout his career. We talked about earlier, they need big minutes from him today.
They do, with Lawton out injured at the moment. They don't really have a backup, a secondary option in that position. And timeout call from Manchester with a minute or so to go here in this quarter. Manchester, their 2 games they played so far, both on the road, lost away. That was a disappointing one for me. The first one at Newcastle. Newcastle on a back-to-back, having gone down to London the day before. Manchester really weren't that great. Then they got beat midweek. Sometimes you run into the buzzsaw of Leicester at home with all of those offensive weapons. And they certainly did on Wednesday, but they've got to win these 2 home games.
We talked about, you know, the fact that you've given up 90 points in both your away losses. That's the problem. Newcastle travelling back to Newcastle, back to back. You know, they're another team that if you let them get in the open floor, they're going to kill you. And that's what we saw. That's why it was an easy victory for Newcastle. Guards getting downhill, getting to the basket. You know, game played the way they like it. And this one's kind of gone similar. It's probably being played the way London want it to be played, although London haven't really been at their best so far in this first 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, that Newcastle backcourt, if you let them get running, and they only had 6 guys, obviously, Newcastle, and you're thinking, well, at some point they're going to run out of steam, but not those 3 guys in the backcourt. They look like they can run up and down all day, all 3 of them, and they can certainly put the ball in the basket. Olasheni converts the 3-point play, and he'll sit down, replaced by Sharma. Boursier, who got himself in early foul trouble and has had limited minutes as a result of that, back into the game. Lewis steps back, gets behind the line, and knocks down a 3.
That's what he can do, Nick Lewis, an individual scorer. Boursier cannot pick up a foul here, getting back in for the last minute.
Oh, why is he being so aggressive on that? It's just not a need. That drive you nuts as a coach.
Yeah. You've got to question lots of decisions at this moment. You've sat him for all that time. He's got 2 fouls. You bring him in for the last minute. and risk the fact that he will pick up his third. And what are you doing, as you said, you know, right near the halfway line? There's just no need to commit the foul there.
Morgan fires up the three, off the mark. Evan Walsh with the rebound. Shot clock is off. Manchester trying to cut it to 5, maybe 4 here in the last play. Walsh, Lewis, crowd counting it down. Lewis gets the shot away and knocks it down. He seems to hit a load of shots on the buzzer, Nicholas Lewis. And well, you would say that London were the better team in that half, and at times looked like they might get away, but Manchester hanging about. If you're going to win, you've got to be in the game. Can't let them get a 15-point lead and try and chase them down. They're in the game.
I think both coaches can swing this as a positive, really, at half-time. Coach Chamorian will be telling his guys, we're right there, you know, we've got a long way to go, but we can get into an end game. If you get into a close one at the end, anyone can take it. If you're London, you say, how will we win it right now at the half? You know, we've committed a lot of sloppy turnovers. We haven't looked after the ball. They've shot a lot more shots than we have. We've got another gear to go in the second 20 minutes.
Well, it's a 5-point lead to the London Lions. Lloyd and I will break it all down right after this break. Welcome back to our coverage of the British Basketball League trophy here in a game in which the Manchester Giants have to win in order to keep themselves alive in this competition. London trying to book a semi-final spot, and it is the Lions who lead at half-time, Lloyd. And it's been a strange old first half, hasn't it?
Yeah, as we said just before the break, I think both coaches will try and swing this as a positive at the half. You know, Lions haven't played at their best. They've been really sloppy with possession, but when they have shot, they've shot it with pretty good efficiency. They're leading, but nowhere near their best. And for Manchester, short-handed, up against it, a lot of fouls early on, but they got through that half and within touching distance still.
Well, let's have a look at the numbers from that first half. And one of the ones we've been talking about all the way through, particularly early on for the London Lions, 11 turnovers. Manchester have turned that into 11 points.
Manchester, a team that turn it over. London often are very good with the ball. And what that's meant is Manchester right now, they've taken 38 shots in the game. London only 32. So that's a big difference. You know, you don't have to shoot as good a percentage as London if you're shooting a lot more shots than they are. The challenge for Manchester, can they find a way to do that in the second half? Or are Lions just going to tighten up? Yeah,
it's how sustainable that is. Let's have a look back at the story of the first half here in Manchester. And it was a bit of scrappy play from London early on, and Manchester just finding enough room, getting a few shots. Lee was really good in the first quarter, got them off to a decent start.
Well, Manchester are a team that can score. They've got talented guys that can put the ball in the basket. Trouble is London have the same. So if you're Manchester, you've got to be thinking defensive end. You've got to be thinking about how you can slow them down and just trust the offense, especially behind that man there, William Lee, just continues to tick over. For London, you know, can they get that rhythm going offensively? Can they increase the number of shots? Because we know they've got a lot of shot makers.
Well, that is the thing. I mean, I guess the question is, we always say you've got to keep scoring with London, but at some point you have to try and, at the minute, they're on pace for close to 100 points. Manchester are not going to win a game 105, 103. They've got to slow them down a little bit.
Yeah, tempo control comes into that. The challenge for Manchester, if you slow the game down too much, it affects your offensive end, and they're a good team that's good in the open floor.
Well, I guess it is also that thing is London will come here, they'll be big favourites, having won a big score on the board the last time they came here. So it was important for them not to get too complacent, not to get sucked into it. Maybe at half-time they might get a little bit of a rocket to try and get themselves going in that second half and pull away from the Manchester Giants. Right now we've got some highlights from this week's action in the British Basketball League Trophy. In a moment we'll have action from the must-win game for the defending champions Caledonia in Sheffield. But first, let's have a look back at Manchester's game in Leicester.
Lewis looking to drive baseline into a double team. Kicks it out. Here is Borsier. Nice pass to find William Lee, who gets that mid-range two to go. Teddy Allen for three. Drains the three. Borsier driving inside. Nice finish from Mason Borsier. Walsh again pushing in transition. It's going to be a blocking foul, and count it. Stolen by Manchester. Lewis pulls up from the elbow, drains it. Teddy Allen driving inside, puts it off the glass and in.
They've got to start capitalising on some of these stops.
Stolen away by Holmes, and he jams it in. Here's Teddy Allen to the basket. Oh, what a follow! And Myron Thomas, put back jam.
An X factor at some points for this team.
Oh, jammed in. Stolen by Teddy Allen, and somehow gets that layup to go in transition. Lewis hesitates, puts it on the floor. Oh, nice move, count it, and the foul. So you certainly don't know what to expect with this team. And Teddy Allen, what a move, gets it to go with a finger roll at the other end. Gone on a couple of 7-0 runs in this game. They can go on one more. Well and truly game on. Nice pass, and Myron Thomas jams it in.
A lot of power in that play. Oh, come on.
Gets it to go and count it. Walsh driving baseline, swings to Robertin. Great pass. Lewis dancing through the lane. Nice find into the big fella. Myron Thomas at the elbow, puts it on the floor, looking for Adowu, who jams it in. Momentum shifting in Leicester's favour. Nice pass into Teddy Allen. He gets it to go.
As we see TJ Law there, who's been effective from the three-point line.
Oh, nice finger roll from Lowell. And that'll do it. Leicester Riders with an important win in their British Basketball League trophy campaign, their second win of the competition.
Ollie Hodgins with the up and under. Beautiful 25 on 25 crime. Clifton Moore Jr. just muscles that one up. Oh, look at that. Ollie Hodgins being the distributor with a beautiful dime bounce pass. It's identity time for the Sharks. Who is your killer? And there you go. On cue, DeVearl Ramsey answers that question. And they can't really focus the Sheffield Sharks on one player because everyone, including Patrick Whelan, seem to be feeling it. Just when they needed it, Nichols comes up big. Back to Ramsey. Stop on a dime. Does he have enough? Yes, he does.
Feeling good, and like I said, you just need to see the ball go in, and then this is when the pressure starts to build on Caledonia, you know.
Caledonia needs a set play. They need an instant bucket.
Gladiators have gone to a zone.
Wow. Oh my! And the scoring streak continues. Gareth Murray does not have enough timeouts in his pocket. The beast, if he's going to keep scoring, keep giving him the rock. Look at this. Circus shot in.
Shot.
Bothwell on the drive, hung up in the middle there, but gets it off the glass, stayed with it. Well done. Coutinho. Why not? Why not? Oof, that's pretty. That's tough to defend. Head fake, drive, floater. Gets his own rebound. Well done. That is some serious desire. Oh, that was a dagger. Big three coming off the hands of Fraser Malcolm. Caledonia starting to flex their muscle. Up and under. Just too quick, Jalen Pipkins.
Beautiful.
Oof, I mean, he is Houdini tonight. Ramsey got that to fall somehow.
Oh, Caledonia. Why not put the cherry on top? Because points do matter if some, you know.
80-72, and that's how this game will end, with Caledonia getting their first win
Welcome back to our coverage of the British Basketball League trophy here. It's the Manchester Giants against the London Lions. The Lions leading this one 48-43 at halftime. Daniel Ratledge and Lloyd Gardner with you to go through the second half action, which is just about to get underway here at the National Basketball Performance Centre. It'll be the Lions who get the opening possession. Philip, they've all left him alone now. They've left Gabe Olasheni alone under the basket too.
Not sure that you're going to get much success doing that.
Not the best defensive start there for the Manchester Giants. Here's Boursier, who picked up that third foul just before halftime. Robertson down the lane has the size and is able to finish.
Great feed by Nick Lewis. Just, drew the help from Olasheni out and then just waited long enough to hit his big man.
Knocked away by Boursier, couldn't quite keep it in play. But you like the effort.
That's what they're going to need, that type of energy on every defensive possession. I'm convinced this end of the floor, and Manchester will give themselves a chance to win it.
Oh, that was close. He might have had the outside of his foot just touching the line. You only have to make contact with it to be out of bounds. Morgan kicks to the corner. Wama open for three, and he knocks it down as the buzzer sounds.
1 second away from a great Manchester defensive possession.
Boursier. Stanley takes the mid-range. Long way short.
This is where London so often will turn the screws.
Oh, good hands from Lee.
Another turnover, far too obvious.
Lewis, beautiful finish in transition.
Before the turnovers, this is often where London turn the screws, really take the lead against people. To weather the storm.
We saw last week them score the first 13 points of the half against Leicester. Lewis, he knocks down the triple. Manchester not going away here.
Well, I repeat, with the scorers they have, guys like Lewis, guys like Lee, they can get hot offensively, no problem at all.
Foul called. Robertson, the offender.
His third now as well.
Well, you cannot take your eyes off Lewis for a second. You cannot step back for a second. He is never too far away from the basket for a shot.
No. He is a man that knows what he does.
Yeah, and what he does is put the ball in the basket. Sometimes he does it streakily. He's had a rough old couple of weeks shooting three-pointers. That you have back-to-back 0 for 8 games. But he believes the next one is going in, and to be honest with you, most of the time I do as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's a talented individual scorer. He can make a play from nothing. Good pass.
And somehow London scramble that one away. Morgan. Oh, sized up by Robertson. He swats it away. Morgan, though, steals it right back for London. Oh, Morgan gave up a good shot for what he thought was a better one, but the pass didn't get there.
It's a 5-on-3 break for London. That sums up, their offense at times today. Whenever they've taken shots, they made them, but 5-on-3 in transition. Both William Lee and Edgin Robertson weren't back, and yet London still turned it over. He's got 3 fouls, so that's why Robertson's gone out again.
He and Boursier on that mark. London have 5 fouls in total in the game. Walsh pushed to the ground, and he's fouled.
Another play for Manchester, end of a shot clock, where just the individual creates a positive play for them. We said about how William Lee can do it, how Nick Lewis can do it, but Evan Walsh, double figures, 6 of his last 7 games. You know, he is also able to do it as well.
Coach Božić watching on as Olasheni just helped Lee out of bounds there, called for the foul.
This is the thing about the scorers from Manchester. London switching, trying to increase the pressure on the defensive end. But you're worried about the guys, because if you get too close, they've got so many people that can go past you or make a play if you're into them defensively.
Borsia kind of trap, gets it to Lee at the elbow. And Stanley pulls in the rebound. Back to Lee with the two-handed throwdown. Well, they're not going anywhere, Manchester. Down 3. We'll keep saying it, but if they're down 3 with 2 minutes to go, they've got enough playmakers to win the game. Now, they've had a few dodgy finishes in recent weeks, but that just means at some point it's going to come back.
Well, and also London Lions, no Jordan Taylor in the lineup today.
Yeah, Jordan Taylor is the get out of jail free card.
He absolutely is. You know, how many games is, I think pretty much, you know, 2 games on the buzzer for them here, a couple of big threes against us in a close one as well. So, you know, so often Jordan Taylor is that experienced man down the stretch for London. How will they react without him in the lineup?
Well, they'll be hoping to be clear and not having to worry about it by that point, but at the minute they can't shake off this Manchester Giants team. Matt Morgan makes both of them. Here's Lewis, top of the key. Right down the middle goes Phillip for the lay-in.
London had a huge game in the paint against Leicester, 48 points, 32 already in this one. Anything over 40 really is, you know, a real good total.
Morgan from 3-point range, and suddenly it's a double-figure lead in the favour of the London Lions, and Manchester are going to have to call time here because they, as I say, London not a team to chase. You don't want to get double figures down, so they need a quick response here.
I'm kind of left wondering how it happened, really. Manchester looked pretty comfortable. You know, talking about the individual scorers being able to take over, they got a couple of good looks. Everything looked okay for them. All of a sudden, 5 in a row, just in, you know, back-to-back possessions, and it's a problem.
Well, all these teams right now are trying to get themselves to Birmingham.
The British Basketball League is unbeatable. Join me at the 2024 British Basketball League Trophy Finals. The 27th and the 28th of January. A weekend of unbeatable basketball and entertainment. Click the link to get your tickets. Watch on Sky Sports and YouTube.
Oh, what a jam!
Well, it's been a few years since we've had a Final Four in Birmingham, but everybody's trying to make that destination. You are, your Surrey Scorchers, got an opportunity to, obviously the league season hasn't gone quite as well as you would have hoped, but you seem to be in decent form now, right at the time for the trophy.
Yeah, game by game, you know, just one game in for us, so still a long way to go, but pleased with the performance we've shown so far. Hopefully it can continue.
A big game for you tomorrow against Plymouth, the two teams who won their opening games. Look, and one of you is going to be 2-0. And, well, I know which one you would hope it would be. That game is at 8 o'clock tomorrow. I'll be sat there with my popcorn ready to enjoy the action from the pavilions. Join us on the British Basketball League YouTube team. But again, Plymouth seem to have a renewed lease of life in this competition as well.
Yeah, a really tough team to play against. We've actually already been to the pavilions twice this year in our league games, and both times have been close ones, so we know how difficult it is to win on the road. We expect a tough game, but that's why we're here. We love to compete.
Not going to get you to talk any trash against them now here, Lloyd.
Well, LVC Dusha is rubbish. There you go. I can pick on him as one of my former players. He knows I've got a lot of love for him. So
watch LVC go for 25 now tomorrow. It's an 8-point game here in Manchester with 4:38 on the clock. And we have got a timeout called. So we'll take a little break as well. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Manchester. What a conversation that must be there. John Tresvan, Clive Allen, two absolute legends of British basketball. I mean, Clive was playing way back in the 80s for Birmingham, had a stellar career over the years. Solid rebounding centre.
If Manchester's foul troubles continue,
Clive and
Tresvan get both of them out there. It looks like they could give some solid minutes still.
Well, a heave on the shot clock buzzer does not go, and Lee with the rebound.
Good switch up defensively from Manchester. Went to the zone. London weren't ready for it. Weren't organised enough to get a good shot.
The question is, if Tresvan got out there, could he avoid two technicals for chatting to the referees?
Manchester got to find a way to unlock the switching defense of London.
And the other game down in Bristol, the Flyers are in danger of going out tonight. Newcastle Eagles winning by 7. If Bristol lose and London win, then London will be first in this group, and it'll be a straight fight between Leicester and Newcastle for runners-up spot in this group. And there's only 11 minutes for Bristol to turn that one around. Coach Bojic, I was talking to him about the qualification options beforehand. It doesn't strike me as a guy who's too bothered about that. He just thinks it's a game, we'll go and win it, and we'll worry about where the chips fall afterwards. You just tell me what game we have to go where and what date. Nice ball movement from the Lions. Lobbed up, tipped by Sharma. And Manchester scramble it away. Stampley, and he's fouled. Which way, which side of the fence do you sit on with that, Lloyd? Are you a guy who pours through, well, if this happens and then that happens and we'll do this, or are you just like, we'll just play and then somebody else will work it out for me?
Yeah, a bit of balance between the two, to be honest. You like to know where you're at, to be there knowing if you might have to do something in that particular occasion, but at the end of the day, so often it's determined by other people as well.
Yeah.
So if you get too much into it, as we said, right now, all London can do is think about this one.
Yeah.
They win today, and then they'll turn and look and see what happens. But all the other results are irrelevant to them. They just got to see if they go in their favour. So you just got to focus on what you can control.
It usually feels like an assistant coach role to go, okay, they're up by 7, so if we win by 12, and all of that sort of thing. But
yeah, and again, the assistant's job is to know what all the permutations are. Do we have to win? Can we lose by 2? What are all the scenarios? So a good assistant will be on top of that stuff for sure.
Is that, and from your perspective, is that Mark or is that Kalen that knows all of the insider info?
Well, I've got the experience and the youth of both, Kalen and Mark Dunning, so both of those will be on top of that for us for sure.
Mid-range for Lee. The Manchester Giants still just hanging on here, down by 5, having drifted out to 10 a few moments ago. It's a good response. Grantham back iron on the 3.
They've got some positivity with this change in defense. The 2-3 zone working for them right now. This will help if William Lee makes one.
It's Lee from the top of the key, and that's going to be a timeout for the London Lions now, having not been able to pull away. A bit of a response from the Manchester Giants.
The tactical changes, sorry Dan, are really interesting. London, great success. Gabriel Osheniyo is on the floor. They're able to switch ball screens. Gabe can keep guards in front of him, able to play against guys like Nick Lewis out on the perimeter. He's gone out. Now Josh Sharma's in, not the same player, so London have not switched as much. That allows Manchester to get opportunities. And then with the changes, Lions are put out there as well. Not as much of a shooting team. Manchester taking advantage, going and changing their defense, going to the zone. That's given them a little bit of momentum as well. So just those little subtle changes from each side really affected this game and the rhythm right now.
Well, London's final game in this competition next week away at Bristol. We'll wait and see if anything is still riding on that. There is still, once that Bristol game is being played, a possibility that London could miss out. There is a permutation where Bristol, Leicester and London all end up 3-1, and if Bristol beat London by 19 or 18, I think it is, they would be able to knock the Lions out. But at the minute, Bristol are not going to be in that position because they're trailing by 6 against the Newcastle Eagles, and the Eagles are trying to set up a winner-takes-all between themselves and the Leicester Riders next week.
Morgan comes back. He's going to add that shooting threat for London. Got to know where he is.
Lobbed up to Sharma, who does the wise thing of catching it and then going back up, and he's got such great spring that he can bounce straight back up there.
Well, that's the connection, Sharma and Nelson. And they really do look for that pick and roll play. Nelson loves to throw it up to Sharma.
And the problem is Nelson's such a excellent scorer that you have to take care of him, and then it only needs an inch or two for Sharma to be open.
Yeah, exactly that. You can't give Luke the 3, so you're running him off the three-point line, push him towards the basket. He's an excellent finisher as well. Rotate a second man in, and he'll punish you with the pass.
Here's Lee. Shot clock needs to go up. Lewis gets it away, and Lewis hits the 3.
That was one of the worst Manchester offenses of the game, but that's where we said the talent they have individually. Nick Lewis says, no worry, I've got this, buries the 3.
Well, it's outcomes based, isn't it? It's a 2-point game. Grantham in the key. Trying to be tipped in by Sharma, but doesn't. And Manchester have an opportunity to level the scores here.
Get William Lee pick and pop here against Sharma. Here it comes. He'll switch. This is the matchup Nick Lewis probably wants against Sharma.
Well, they've moved it on, but Harris gets all the way to the rim. Can't quite score. Grantham to Morgan. Cross-court Kouili for three. Misses everything. Well, London led by as many as 10 in this quarter. Forced Manchester into a timeout. But once again, the Giants have a chance to level the scores, maybe even take the lead with a three. Walsh along the baseline. Can't get past Sharma. Trying to find some room. Oh! He tosses it in off the glass. What a finish.
How did Evan Walsh's arms get, the ball far enough from away from Sharma to not get blocked? Great finish from him, tied up. Incredible third quarter for Manchester.
Well, that's a heady play there by Luke Nelson. He let the ball roll and didn't pick it up because he wanted the shot clock to get as close to the game clock as possible. The shot clock doesn't start till you touch the ball, to try and not give Manchester a chance back. And then he goes to the rim and draws the foul. Well, Walsh, you think he's in a world of trouble here. How does he get away from Sharma? And the go-go gadget arms come out to just hook it away past the big fella.
Sharma credited for 2 blocks. Feels like he's got about 8 on the game, though. I don't know if there's a tougher person to make that finish on than Josh Sharma in our league. Now, what a move it is for Evan Walsh. Another game, it looks like he's going to hit that double-figure plateau again. 8 points for him now.
Well, Sharma and Robertson are tied at the top of the blocks per game in all competitions this season, averaging 1.6. Of course, William Lee last year, before his injury, was one of the best in that category as well. Nelson makes both free throws. Straight to defensive duties. Giants with 8 seconds to work with. Well, the three-pointer is up, and it is good. And with 10 minutes to play, the Manchester Giants will have the lead. Harris with the 3 on the buzzer. They trail by double figures, but they lead. Could they keep their trophy hopes alive? We will have the fourth quarter right after this break. Welcome back to Manchester, where this three-pointer on the buzzer at the end of the third quarter has given the Manchester Giants the lead and a chance to pull off a massive upset, which will really throw things open in this trophy group. London were hoping to book their passage tonight, but if Manchester win, then everybody can still qualify. Lewis, you've got to get all the way out to him. There's no distance out of his range. Shot clock getting low. Harris fires up the three. I think he was trying to draw a foul in that.
And I said throughout that first half, there's no way you're going to outscore this London team.
Wow.
Manchester proving that, just the 27 points in that third quarter to take the lead. Obviously, what do I know? They're just going to go one end of the floor. Superb offensive quarter from them.
Well, they were MIA at the defensive end there, but Olasheni couldn't make them pay. Here's Harris again, looking to go to work. Lewis with a little slap down at the ball and score for the foul. Well, they've got back into it, Bristol. It's a one-point game now. Looks like Jacob just made a three-pointer. It'll be a transition three, won't it? Because that's exactly what Jacob does. And that is 77-75 on that three, so they are in the lead, Bristol. That keeps their chances alive. If they win, this could keep Manchester's chances alive if they're successful. Well, we thought we knew what was happening in this group about 10 minutes ago, but it's all gone awry now. Here's Nwaba driving to the basket. The foul is called, and that basket will count. He will go to the line for a bonus free throw and a chance to tie the scores.
These scores show you what the trophy's all about. Every game counts. Every game in the middle of the season means something. We can see that here. In the fourth quarter, a win or a loss for Manchester sees them go out. A win, they've still got a chance of qualification. So a lot on the line in this final 9 minutes.
And they'll certainly be feeling good about themselves, because if you knock off the Lions, there's an extra spring in the step there, particularly given, you know, this is a quality London lineup. They are missing some guys, but they're not that short-handed that you would think, oh, they've got no chance at it. Here's Morgan for three. Strings it whenever you need it, Connor Morgan.
It's so good on out-of-bounds plays, London. Obviously, the threat of Morgan being able to step off a screen and shoot it helps, but, you know, their execution is always flawless.
Lee down the lane, couldn't quite get that home, but he was fouled. So he will go to the free throw line.
Smart play from William Lee. Said, you know, likes that jump shot, likes to dribble, pull up, especially going to his right hand, but that time gave it up, cuts to the rim, knowing his defender was so close they couldn't keep up with him.
Yeah, just a slap down from Olasheni.
One of those try to save a point fouls for a game. Don't give him the easy one. Put William on the Lee on the line, see if he can miss a free throw.
William Lee trying to level the scores here. It was tied in Bristol as well, but Newcastle have just scored to take a 3-point lead. To the rim. He likes to get to the basket. We've learned that in game one, haven't we?
Yeah, well, same play back-to-back for Lions. Let Nwaba get downhill. Legend Robertson's got 4 fouls. So he's nervous of playing that pick and roll coverage too closely.
It's a travel. Robertson running into Olasheni and then just keeping the ball while his feet are still moving.
Nwaba stepped up and took the contact. Good defensive play from him not to foul. Keeper Robertson outside of being able to dunk it, which is obviously where he's so effective.
Borsier is back in the game, so that's 2-0. Lobbed up towards Nelson. 2 Giants in the game on 4 fouls. Obviously, they can't afford really either of them to get fouled out of the game. Still a long way to go. Lee for 3, halfway down, but doesn't drop. Morgan, corner, knocks it down again.
And that's it, isn't it, for London? Nwaba gets to the rim, back-to-back plays. This time, you send a second defender to help, stop him getting another layup, and he just finds Conor Morgan wide open for 3.
Well, he does miss the occasional shot, Conor Morgan, but every time he lets it go, you think it's going in. 3-point shot just looks so perfect.
You're right, misses the occasional one. He's only 3 or 4 tonight. Just tremendous outshot shooter, but it's the timing on the pass, the quality of the delivery as well. Don't underestimate that from David Nwaba, who, you know, we said he's gone back-to-back baskets so often. You know, the players, the eyes start to light up, don't they, when they get another opportunity to penetrate. But just unselfish play from him to find Morgan for the best shot for the team.
Well, a 5-point deficit for Manchester. Walsh comes in, Morgan comes in. Lobbed back to Evan Walsh. Borsier for 3. He knocks it down.
That's why he's out there with the 4 fouls. Chance to make some big plays.
It's at this end of the floor, he's got to be careful though. That third one, remember, was really poor. Oh, Olesheni's missed another chippy.
Hands to his head, didn't he? And rightly so, yeah.
Lewis for 3 off the mark. Oh, nearly jammed in by Lee on the follow. Oh, swiped away by Nwaba from behind. Walsh commits the foul. Look at that. He's had a few good blocks today, hasn't he?
Oh, for his first game in the British League, you know, David Nwaba is becoming a bit of an X factor. London probably thought they'd just give him some minutes, get him used to the game. And instead, he's been needed to try and help his team to victory.
3:40 to go in Bristol. We're back to the scenario of London through and Bristol and Manchester out as it stands, but still a long way to go. Here's Morgan, who just looks like he's going to take his team to victory here.
As we talked about, the smaller lineup for London, giving up size to Conor Morgan, so he takes you to the inside.
Here's Lee for 3, and he just won't go away.
Great play design. William Lee on the pick and the pop, gets a clean look.
Here's Phillip for the triple off the mark. And Manchester have a chance to regain the lead here.
Same play, yeah. Here comes William Lee. This time London switched the ball screen.
So Lewis takes it. The foul goes against Olesheni. That's going to be his third. No real foul trouble for London.
I think Manchester have got to continue to milk that same sort of action. Nick Lewis with the ball. William Lee on the pick and pop. It means if the defense doesn't switch, William Lee will be there for you. If they do switch, which is what London appear to be doing, you know, Nick Lewis, as we said, is a really talented individual scorer. So as good as an on-ball defender that Gabriel Olesheni is, that's a tough matchup for him. And I think right now, if you're Manchester, you say Lewis being guarded by Olesheni, that might be enough to get us the game.
Well, Lewis ties the scores at 81. Both of them. Clive Allen watching on. Jamel Anderson, DMP because of injury, but he's supporting his team from the bench. Olasheni down the lane goes Phillip, and he puts the Lions back in front.
Great pass, but better cut from Tariq Phillips. Smart movement from him.
Lewis for three, a little short. Oh, it's scrambled about. Manchester get it back. Boursier is open on the far side, but it goes to Lee. He's up and down, and that'll be a held ball. So the possession arrow will give the ball back to London. It's a 1-point ball game here, less than 5 to go. Timeout called. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Manchester, where Brian Simonian and his Manchester Giants are trying to pull off the upset here, trailing by only a point with less than 5 to go in this one. The scores are almost identical down in Bristol as well. It's 82 points apiece there. They are a couple of minutes ahead of us, though, so we will get their result, barring overtime, before we finish. Foul is called on Lee in the key. Here is the latest from Bristol, 82-82. Bristol must win that game to give themselves an opportunity, unless Manchester win this game. Oh, Morgan can't get his hands on that, and that will be a Manchester ball.
Had position, Conor Morgan just took a bump, mishandled it, so good pressure defensively from Manchester. See where they go out of this timeout. Said that they've got to look for Nick Lewis last time before the timeout. See if they go back to him once more.
Boursier kicks to the corner, Walsh for three, and Manchester are back in front. Wobber looking to reply, his shot rims out, there's a foul on the rebound. If it's on Boursier, he's done.
I don't think it's another one. I don't think he needed to do it. He was out of position. Philip did a good job getting to the inside, but you just got to gamble. The ball's not going to go to him. You can always commit that foul a little bit after if he does get the rebound, but you know, it's Tariq Phillip on his own. A lot of other Manchester jerseys in and around to try and rebound for you.
Just watch Boursier. You can see he's underneath the, he's behind, Phillip, and just shoves him out of bounds.
He's trying to box out. At the moment, Tariq jumps. Any contact is going to shift him out of position and make it really easy call for the referee.
Driving in, and Walsh is going to get called for the foul, and the referee points to the floor, but that doesn't matter because that's the 5th team foul on Manchester. So it's going to be 2 free throws anyway.
4th on Evan Walsh as well. Another guy racking him up. A lot of fouls for Manchester. Robertson's got 4, 2 for Lee and Stampley as well.
There's the foul trouble for Manchester, a whole heap of it. Bearing in mind they only have 3 players on the bench. Marbar can't convert the first free throw. He makes the second. It's 84 to London, 85 to Manchester with 4 minutes to play. Newcastle late in the final minute, leading by a basket down in Bristol. Here's Lewis. Corner shot for 3 is foul. Let's get a quick look at that game down in Bristol. There is 6 seconds to go. It's 82. Defoe with an important defensive play there. Or was it? Did he get called for a travel maybe? But it's 82-84 and there's only a few seconds left. Maybe he got a foul, judging by the way he's trudging off the court. We'll just keep an eye on that one. And Stanley makes the front end of the free throw. Defoe had just hit the shot at the other end of the floor to put his team in front. They're in a timeout, so we'll come back to that in a moment or two as Stampley is trying to stretch this Manchester lead. Remember, Bristol will go out if London win and Newcastle win, but even if the Flyers lose, if Manchester win, they're still in. That was a travel, by the way, on Darius Defoe, so Bristol will still have the ball back with a chance to win it with 6 seconds remaining. Here's Morgan, good hands from Lewis, but they still have it, London. Extra pass, Grantham open for 3, short on that one, good rebound from Stampley.
They gambled on that far side. Manchester extended the zone a lot. Gave up a wide open one, but London a rare 3-point miss, really. Shot it well.
Walsh. Good hand, stolen away. Morgan has it. Morgan out leading the break, passes it on to Nwaba, and it is a 1-point game there. 2-point game down in Bristol. Flyers trying to run a play to get a shot away. That doesn't go. Tipped. It's all over the place. It's come out. There's a 3 on the buzzer there. That doesn't go. And Newcastle are going to win. So Bristol on the brink here, unless Manchester can do them a favour. And the Eagles are celebrating. If it stays like this, Bristol are not out. If London come back and win, it's a straight fight between Newcastle and Leicester for runners-up spot in this group. 2:46 to go. And I should imagine they will quickly be streaming us down in Bristol now. What's going on in the other game? Well, they had some goes at it there, Bristol, but couldn't quite get that all-important bucket. Oh, nice ball movement and jammed in by Grantham. And London are back in front.
Just looks so easy against the zone on that possession. Get it into Olesheni's hands. He's the provider. Such a good passer. Finds Grantham for the easy 2.
Lewis has to heave up a shot over Olesheni, and Phillip with the rebound.
2 great plays from Olesheni, one at each end of the floor. First the pass, then the defense. Now he's going to add a jumper as well.
Well, he's missed a few easy ones earlier, but he wasn't going to miss that. And with 2 minutes to go, it is 90 points to 87 that the London Lions lead as they look to try and secure their spot in the semi-finals of the British Basketball League trophy. And it's all over in Bristol, 82-84 confirmation of that one, and it was a great performance from Ricky McGill. 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, but they had a couple of guys with double-doubles as well. Taj Green and Larry Austin, not a million miles away from quadruple double. Austin, 18 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 steals. That'll get it done. So Bristol, as it stands, will not be able to qualify unless Manchester can do them a favour. London have had some good finishes to games in close encounters, both at home and abroad. And they're trying to get another one here.
Surely Nick Lewis, William Lee, got to be involved in this offense for Manchester. I feel like it's a crucial possession, 2 minutes to go. We see the quality of London down the stretch, right before that timeout with Gabe making those couple of plays. Manchester just got to keep touching distance.
Well, they could do with a score on this play, really. Here's Walsh trying to find it through the key. It's short. Ball bobbling about. Grantham smuggles away. Morgan in the open court. Lee chasing him down, but can't catch him. In fact, he fouls him. And Matt Morgan with a huge play in transition and a chance to make it 6.
Matt Morgan just smelt blood, didn't he? Right here, knew it was a foot race, and he doesn't lose many of those. So often with a lead, you'll slow it down. But Matt Morgan knew he could get an easy one, and the bonus is the fact he's going to go to the free throw line as well.
Well, potentially huge, as you say. Quite a lot of the time there, you circle it back out. But if you can score and you can stretch the lead, you take that, and he does. He doubles the lead, in fact. Lewis, deep 3, doesn't go, and that could be that. I thought for a minute Grantham was going to try and grab that, but he did the sensible thing, let it go out of bounds and run 24 seconds off the clock.
Manchester got to come out of the zone now, really, to try and chase the game a little. So it's been effective for them, though.
Morgan, top of the key. Off the mark, still a window of opportunity with a minute to play for Manchester. And for Bristol, Robertson inside, blocked by Olasheni. They've been blocking shots all over the place, London. Perfect timing.
8th block of the game, I think, for the Lions.
Well, Manchester have to score, really. It's into Lee. Lewis turns the corner. Lewis floats it up off the glass and gets the basket. Again, they're going to try and milk some clock here, London. A long offense and a score is what they desire. Here's Nelson. Dagger 3 from Luke Nelson.
Just looks so comfortable for London, didn't it? And that's the experience they have. They knew exactly, as you were talking about, just run that clock down, get a good shot, and may well be enough.
Lewis back iron, it probably will be enough now, and the London Lions are going to book their spot. The first team to book their spot in the semi-finals. They're going to win the group as well. And Bristol and Manchester's chances will disappear in 18 seconds time, and the reason for that, by the way, is because Bristol and Manchester will have both lost 2 games, and even though Leicester and Newcastle have only won 2 games, they play each other, so one of them's going to get a 3rd win. And the reason London are guaranteed top is because the worst they could do is finish level with either Leicester or Newcastle, who they've both beaten, so therefore have the head-to-head on. Hopefully that's explained.
I understood that. Yeah. Hopefully everyone else did. Yeah, it was smoothly done.
makes both of them, and it's going to look reasonably comfortable in the end, but it was anything but for the London Lions. They've pulled it out down the stretch, really. And it's been, well, there's been some interesting performances both ends of the floor. Where have you gone for your player of the game, Lloyd?
Yeah, well, as you said, a lot of performances on both sides. I've gone with David Noir, but, you know, I just think first game for him, first game in the British League, tied top scorer right now for the London Lions, 20 points off the bench, and you think back to that period, you know, where it was a crucial time, you know, in the second half, ran a couple of ball screen actions, got 2 crucial finishes at the rim, and then was the provider for Conor Morgan as well. So good game from David Noir, but a good addition, 7 of 11 from the field for his 20 points.
Well, Lewis with a foul. I'm not sure there's much need for that. Points difference don't really matter anymore, and they're not going to find 7 points in 10 seconds. And they're certainly not going to find 9 if he makes both free throws. So it just gives London a chance to put the century on the board, and we talked about it at the top of the show. If you give up 100 points, you're not going to win against London.
Well, the 27-point third quarter nearly told us different, but yeah, you know, back to reality. 21 in this quarter for Manchester, but they gave up 29 points, and that's the thing. You know, when the game is on the line, London just have so many options of where to go, so much experience, they don't get rattled.
Well, Walsh will heave up on the buzzer, but that will do it. Well, they trailed going into the fourth quarter, the London Lions, but they have seen it to victory, and they've seen their way to Birmingham. They are the first team to punch their ticket, and they will be in Birmingham, and they will take some stopping.
No doubt about it. It's, you know, what an addition David Nwaba is to an already talented London team. Definitely not at their best today, London, but credit to Manchester and the way, especially short-handed, they made this a really competitive game throughout.
And from the Manchester point of view, there's a lot of positive to take from the way they performed, particularly in the third quarter, the fight back, the way they stuck in the game. But the reality is that their trophy campaign is over, and they've got to try and take the positives now back into the league campaign.
Yeah, for Manchester as well, it's try and manage some of these injuries. Hopefully they can use this little period of time without competitive games to nurse back some of those guys. See Austin Lawton there on the right-hand side of the picture. Jamal Anderson in the white jersey as well. They're the 2 main ones. They really need those guys back on the floor. Callum Jones as well.
Well, yeah, they didn't quite have enough depth today, but they kept on slugging away, and London will feel like they, you know, could have been I mean, it's one of those interesting things. We sit here and go, well, London not quite at their best, but they still put 100 points on the board. They blocked about 400 shots. They shot 55% from the floor, 40% from three-point range, and yet we still felt, well, they weren't quite at it today.
Yeah, and we talked about the turnover woes. They ended with 14. I can't remember what it was at the half. Maybe it was 12 or 13, so much better in the second half. But yeah, it was just the way that they played wasn't as fluid as we've seen in the past.
Well, certainly not. Disappointment for Brian Simonian and his Manchester Giants. Well, we have our player of the game with us. David, welcome to the British Basketball League. It's quite an introduction to you. You had a great game on Wednesday in the Euro Cup and an excellent performance today. How have you adjusted to life with the Lions?
It's been great so far. You know, this team's accepted me, and I'm just trying to play my role, just going out there, bringing energy, just playing hard, playing the right way. So I'm just excited to be here.
And you guys were given quite a game by the Manchester Giants in this one, particularly in the third quarter when they got a run on you there.
Yeah. I mean, they're a good team. They played hard. They hit shots, and you got to give them their credit. They came out here and gave us a good fight.
And, well, you're only just here, but I'll explain it to you. That game qualifies you through to the Final Four in Birmingham, a chance for you to maybe get some silverware in your first 3 weeks as a Lion.
Sounds good to me. I'm excited for that.
And an excellent performance all around. You guys came out in the fourth quarter and just finished the game off in the right way, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it came down to the final seconds. You know, they put up a fight all game, stuck around even when we try to extend our lead, and you got to applaud them for their efforts. I'm just glad we won the game.
Well, an excellent performance by you. Welcome to the league. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, let's take a look at the numbers from today's game. And yes, 63% from 2-point range, 40% from 3. And as you say, the turnovers, they really looked after the ball better in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, an efficient performance from London. They did what they had to when it came down to the stretch. As we've seen before, they do have that experience to be able to win. Thought they made a couple of little adjustments in that second half. I said, you know, as you mentioned, the turnovers being the big one. And whenever they got looks at the basket, you always felt with the shooters, with the talent they've got, they were going to have enough to outscore Manchester.
And they certainly did. And we can now hear from their coach. Petter, congratulations. You're the first team to book yourselves through to these semi-finals in Birmingham. You're going to top this group, but a hard-fought game today.
Yeah, and I was listening what you guys talking, and you said it all. So I don't have nothing much to add. After first half, 11 turnovers. Second half, few less, but still some lapses defensively. On other end, we have Manchester team who play with the less rotation but play hard, and you know, this is not first time that we are facing hard game against them.
And you got 10 points up midway through that third quarter, and then they had a real run at you second half of that third quarter and put you under pressure going into the fourth.
Yeah, well, yeah, as the whole game, we have a little bit ups and downs. I'm glad that end of the game, we were up and focused like many times this year. But yeah, congrats to my players for win. Congrats to the Manchester players for great game.
Coach, I don't know if you knew what to do with all those players sitting on your bench, actually in uniform today. If you've got, you know, any spare ones, you can share some out to the rest of the league if you want. You know, how was it having a full bench today? Pretty much, obviously, still a couple of guys out.
Yeah, that's definitely something new for us as well. We didn't have that deep bench and a lot of players in rotation. You know, today it's very important to stay healthy. This part is very hard. And I'm fortunate that we have the 12 guys on the bench today.
Well, congratulations on reaching the semi-finals, and thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you, guys. All the best.
Thank you very much. Yes, it was a good win for London Lions. Here is confirmation of the results so far this week. Leicester winning against Manchester on Wednesday. Caledonia keeping their chances alive on Thursday. Bristol beaten by Newcastle, and coupled with London's win, that means London are definitely first, and either Newcastle or Leicester will be second in this group. Lloyd in action tomorrow down at the Pavilions, taking on the Plymouth City Patriots, 8 p.m. on our YouTube channel for that one. And then 2 games on Sunday, Manchester and Bristol, well, scrambling it out for positions at 3 p.m. And then Plymouth back in action on Sunday, going up to Cheshire to take on the Phoenix at 6 p.m. So let's have a look at the standings. Lions 3-0, so they will go through in first place, because whichever of Leicester or Newcastle wins cannot overtake London, because London have the head-to-head with them. Newcastle hosting Leicester next week. The winner of that will go to Birmingham. Bristol and Manchester, well, unfortunately for them, they can no longer qualify. Group A is still all up for grabs. There is still a possibility where every team can finish first or last. They could all finish 2-2. It could be total mayhem at the end of the season, the sort of thing that I love and Lloyd probably doesn't. But an important game for you, you're just thinking, let's win our games and not worry about anything else.
Yeah, we've got to go one by one right now. If we can get to 2-2, that's positive. So we need a win tomorrow, try and get that second win. And as I said to you, you know, we'll just sit and wait then, see how the other results go, and that will start to tell us the story as we've seen in this group here tonight as well.
Well, thanks for joining me tonight, Lloyd. Good luck tomorrow. Don't forget to check that action out. I'll certainly be at home watching. But for now, goodbye.